Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast today. I'm Shelby Jo Long, CEO of Business Dynamics, and I'm here today to talk to another genius entrepreneur that has created a business out of their passion, out of their intuition, so that they can help others discover paths that make their lives easier. And I met Juliana a couple of months ago. And I tell you what, my interactions with Juliana have been great because we're working together to put a program together for her. But she's made me think about my own environment and made me think about my own house a little bit differently, because the space that you live in means that it leads to your productivity levels. She teaches other people to organize and to organize their surroundings so they can be more productive. She does that, and she also helps people organize their own homes. I'm going to let her tell you about her business, but it's so fun to hear her story, and I'm excited that she's joined us on our podcast today. So Juliana Kathman with Organized by Juliana, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, Shelby.
I'm excited to, I've told a little bit of your story and a little bit of our interaction, but if you would introduce yourself and your business and kind of give us the 30,000 foot overview of what your business is all about, that would be great.
Wonderful. Yes, I have enjoyed what I've been doing for the past several years and been meeting some wonderful people. I started out originally with a goal in the healthcare field, and I reached that goal, and then I was not happy with it, and I was unfulfilled, and I said, I can't do this the rest of my life. So I realized that there was lots of women like me trying to do everything. And trying to do everything can be exhausting and time consuming, and mental clutter and physical clutter and digital clutter is a problem. And I realized that I was more productive in my life trying to do everything because of the skills that I had. And I didn't realize that everybody didn't have those skills. So when I realized that, I put this business plan together, and now I've been doing that in several homes, and have been able to witness the great response of, people improving their lives.
Yeah, it's since we've been working together, it's so interesting because it's not something that you think about as an immediate solution. Right? We typically think about, having more us time or going to the gym or taking a pill or something to make us feel better. And we don't think about looking at our surroundings and how that might be contributing to how we're feeling. So I think that's on the outside of it, you're a coach too, because you help kind of coach people through that, but through a different vehicle. And I think that's it's such an important thing to do, and to have a third person there to help you realize that I think is very, very useful. So I think it's great that you've made a business out of it because you are an expert in that. So tell us a little bit more about your business. How do you interact with clients? I know that you and I are working on your program together. We're going to talk about your challenge, because we're going to talk about that later in the podcast, but tell me a little bit about how you work with clients.
Well, I really enjoyed my one-on-one working. A lot of the jobs that I have are entire homes. So we do a tour of the entire home, and I find out what causes the most stress. And I find out, figure out from their point of view, whether it's their closet. I just worked with somebody in their master closet, and she said it took her less time to get everybody ready in the morning. That is a big accomplishment. And it was just so excited to hear that, Then there's kitchens are, big part of our home, and having placements and knowing what is in the drawers or in the cabinets and saving time that way. That has been beneficial. I have helped everything from garages to under the sinks. So it's we find out what is causing the stress, and then sometimes they think it's this and it actually might be something else. But you'll see improvements not only in when you come home, you should have that feeling of relaxation, not the idea of work. I have more work to do. I have this to do. We'll never be able to accomplish all of our to-dos in one day because we have so much to do. But if you focus on priorities on that day, then you can get closer and closer to that and actually make accomplishments and not procrastinate.
Absolutely. There's just even thinking about your environment and how that contributes to how you're productive and the things that you don't want to do and the things that you procrastinate, and puts you in a whole different mindset. So is that something I want to kind of get back to your story and your transition when you decided to get out of the corporate America and to focus on something. Is that something you recognized in your own life when you decided to make the transition from I think it was healthcare into being your own boss?
Absolutely. I couldn't imagine going back the other direction, because there is so much that I can do with my life now, and what I can focus on. I can be more productive myself, and the more that I learn. And so it's been beneficial for me to do this for a business and be able to pay for what I need.
Absolutely. Do you remember the point where was there a day, was there a point, was there a walking into a messy room and you're just like, I need to fix things? Do you remember having that that epiphany that said, I need to change my life, I need to transition, I need to do something on my own? Was there something dramatic that happened like that?
I'd like to think there was something dramatic like that. There is, it's the idea of, that you're on the right path when it gives you that feeling of satisfaction on I am a, helper in a lot of ways. And so I help people make decisions, and to be able to do what I love and then get paid for it, that makes a big difference, because I did not want to sit in this chair for 8 to 10 hours a day anymore.
Right. I love that. It's so inspiring to hear that. I mean, it was a conscious decision. You were not satisfied. You weren't happy. You weren't fulfilled. And your home life was probably suffering for that. And then you go home and you didn't want to do anything and be organized. So now you could be much more organized and much more focused, and you created a business out of it. So I think that's the perfect evolution of a genius entrepreneur, is that you discover something and then where you're not fulfilled, and then you dig into your passion and you create a business out of it. So I think that's exciting. And you're at a very exciting point of your business too, where you're looking at, you serve people one-on-one, but now how can we get your ideas out to a larger audience? So can you talk about that? Can you talk about your entrepreneur journey a little bit, and how that has, a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs themselves, and they've gone through multiple challenges, but I think it's good that they learn from successful entrepreneurs that have made the transition. Can you talk about a challenge that you've had on your journey?
Well, I think the challenges mostly is my inner self, just making that commitment and doing it, because to make sure that, and I have support. My husband is very supportive, and he's even more supportive because when I come home, I'm so happy of what I have done, coming home and, I have that relaxation feeling when I come home. So I'm, not stressed out. And so it's been enjoyable experience for that. But I think overcoming that is the most difficult part, to say, yes, I can do this. And
Sure.
To have support, whether it's online support through an organization. There's other professional organizers they're fabulous. We all help each other out and answer questions when we run into issues. But to focus on what your niche is can take time. And that can be frustrating because you have to be patient. and to find out what it is that really makes a difference. And I knew what made a difference when I helped a woman that had just come out of depression from a difficult divorce, that was sleeping on her couch because she couldn't get to her bed. And, after working with her for several months, and then now she not only has, a functioning home, can sleep in her own bed, she has a job and she's making good decisions. So that really spoke to me as saying, that's what I want to continue to help. That's how I want to continue to make a difference.
That's so transformative, and it's so impactful because you've made such a difference in their lives. I think that's really, really incredible. So you've done, I know that you've done quite a few speaking events in this past couple of months. And we've talked about your program and kind of some ideas from that. I'm just wondering if there is, your program is pending, it's coming out. We don't want to give away everything, but are there a few pieces of advice, that you could give our listeners about just some changes that they can make that might make their lives a little bit more fulfilling at home, if you will?
Well, we are not a paperless society, and I don't see that that's going to happen. We still have paper that comes into our homes. So being able to tackle that, but if you know where things belong, then you are able to delegate that out. You can't do it all yourself, and you shouldn't take that burden on. Being able to, if you know where the mail gets and process it every day, not weekly, just if something takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. Don't wait. Don't build up those things until it's, you have days worth of things to go through. So I think it's that building up those morning routines and evening routines. You should be able to clean up and pick up your house in a matter of a few minutes before you go to bed, so you can relax and sleep well, get up the next morning and know what your plans are for the next morning. That requires you to have some prep time ahead of time. I share the information on how to get not just your physical things organized, but your schedule for everybody in your family and everybody to be on the same page. And so we don't want to have miscommunication. We don't want to waste time looking for things. And we want to save money, because there's so many houses that I go to where people can't find it, so they just go buy another one.
Right.
It's a whole lot easier than spending the time looking for things. So there is, setting up these kind of systems does save you a lot of time and money.
Which all contributes to productivity and your mental state and everything. Especially as you transition, as so many people have transitioned to working in their homes. I'm the perfect example. I work in my home. I go to the office occasionally, but I do a lot of work in my home, and just to make sure things are organized here so I can be most productive at home, I think is so key.
Absolutely. And I experienced that as well. So I am also able to relay that information to others when I work with them as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think there's a whole program we can put together about that. I think that I'm excited about that. You've got the digital online program in process. We're putting that together. And I think there's a whole home office organization that you can too. But we have this, something I want you to talk about, because it's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. And we'll make sure that you have your landing page and all of that in the podcast announcement, but so people can join. Can you talk about this challenge that's coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Oh, yeah. It's a 30-day organizing challenge to prepare you for the holidays, to decrease some stress. And it starts on October 15th. And you can sign up on my website, organizedbyjuliana.com. Juliana is one N. And it is each day you will be unlocked a new task. hoping it'll take you maybe about 30 minutes each day. And it will be anything, specific spaces to focus on, not the whole house, but just focusing on that one drawer, that one cabinet, that one laundry room, just under the bathroom sink, how to, just some ideas and tips. It should apply to most people. And with 30 days worth, even if you did 10 days of it, I think it would be beneficial. And it covering everything from, we're doing this as a holiday. So I included wrapping supplies, which seems to be an issue that I go to people's houses and the wrapping supplies don't stay well because they are, crammed into a closet someplace. So I go through that. I'm looking forward to sharing some of these ideas that I've learned along the way that can help you keep your things in good working order and get rid of the things that you don't want or need anymore.
Right. Which I think working with someone like you, where you've worked with people and you've helped them declutter and help them organize, that you almost have this knowledge about no, you need to decide whether it's this black and white answer. You need to either use it or you don't, and get rid of it if you don't. Sometimes we need that other person on the other side of it. So I am excited for the challenge. I'm definitely signing up for it. I think every person could use that to help just give their home a little bit more organization as they're getting ready for the holidays. It's crazy that we're already there at the end of September, beginning of October, but
Exactly.
It's better than, I had this discussion with my daughter the other night because her room is not a mess, but it's also not very well organized. And I tell her to clean her room, and then all of her holiday clothes end up in a pile on the side of her bed. And, she stuffs her desk full of trash and whatever. And I say, well, I think it's really time that we need to dig into your room this weekend and clean out the clothes. And we got to organize some things because you just have stuff all over the floor. She's like, but Mom, the floor is clean. I said, yeah, but it doesn't, you have stuff everywhere on top of things. So we're going to dig in and do it this weekend. And she said, but it's so much. And I said, well, you got to tackle it one bit at a time, because if you don't, then it seems too overwhelming. So we'll just do it a little bit at a time, but we've got to get rid of some of this stuff. So I think that's an excellent piece of advice, and I'm excited for the challenge. And you told us all where we can find you. I'll make sure that that your website and all of that is included in the podcast. But I think that's, I'm excited for your challenge. So I hope that other people are too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So do you, in one last question I have for you is, so in your entrepreneurship journey, you were inspired by getting out of your current situation. But are you surrounded by entrepreneurs? Do you have entrepreneur friends, family members? Is that something that's around you, or was it something that you just I'm ready to get out and do something on my own? What can you tell a little bit about that story? Yeah,
I found what I needed online initially through a group for that taught about how to set up and help for professional organizers. And so organizer.club, and that worked out very well. And then locally for me, just reaching out, there are several, especially women networking events and to get together, and it's sharing ideas. It's not a competition, and it's actually, referring to one another, because there's many times that I go into home and I will need, help with other things, if other contractors or plumbers or electricians or painters or anything like that. So it's good to network locally as well and get to know your community and then be able to share with people and build that confidence. Absolutely. All about facing your fears, all about creating a life around your passion. I think that's the perfect story of a genius entrepreneur. So thank you for sharing that with us today, Juliana.
And I look forward to organizing my home before the holidays in your 30-day organization challenge. So if you are interested, listeners, in also joining me in that challenge, we'll make sure that the link is in the podcast episode so you can sign up too. Juliana, any last thoughts before we sign off today? Any one piece of advice that you'd give us? Where is the biggest, if we're going to tackle organizing our house, where's the first place we should start? Any organizer tip that you have for us?
You always start at the most stressful place. So it's whatever causes you the most stress. And it's usually the closet.
Closet. Because that's where we put things when we don't want to look at them. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's always more than shoes and clothing.
Right. It's holiday wrapping, it's tape, it's whatever. That is a great piece of advice, especially before the holidays. So Juliana, thank you for coming on to the interview today and telling us your story. You inspire so many others with your story, and I look forward to your programs coming out, and I look forward to your challenges, so more people can know what you do and how you can help make our lives better. So thank you again for coming on the interview. And listeners, I look forward to telling you another story about how a individual has created a business out of their genius, and they're able to help others transform their lives with the processes they have learned. So we will see you next time. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Expertise Podcast and hope you're inspired to think about how to further monetize the expertise and the processes that you have in your own business. See you next time.